Hey y'all, Nick here. And hey, you can tell that, I'm not coming from you in the normal location. So, but, this week I kind of wanted to come in and talk about training. A big part of STEM, motorsports journeys, and stuff like that is getting adequate training. If you want to get into coding or anything like that, hardware, software, whatever, you have the boot camps that are out there now. So you have all the coding boot camps. Most of your cloud-based certificates are free. So if you want to go do AWS or something like that. But you know when you're in the automotive industry, there are completely different trainings that you can go do. You can go do the ASE mechanic course through a junior college or something like that. We push that. Career colleges, I 100% stand behind them. I think they're great. Or, you go be an intern or something like that for one of these companies and really kind of learn the ways of how they do it. There's many different ways when it comes down to training. It's online, in person, it's through a technical school, a college level course, graduate school if you already have your bachelor's and stuff like that. Or, it's learn on your own. I know a lot of people who use a lot of the different coding locations and stuff like that to teach themselves coding. W3 schools. W3 schools teach you how to build your website. W3 schools make you very successful in your way of doing things. It'll also teach you how to better understand how, the back end of a website works. There's also a couple of the Python boot camps out there now that you can go and do Python training to learn, Python, JavaScript, CSS, any of those major ones. You see them all the time, and the thing is training and training, training. There is something out there that usually tells you that, you can really never get any better without the training that you need. That or you learn it on your own. You learn it from a book. You learn it from a website. You learn it from friends. Training doesn't have to be in a classroom setting. Training can literally be sitting down with your friends and learning something. Learning something new, for example. I learned a lot. Most of y'all know from the Vulcanar Technology Solutions channel that I've learned a lot from, John, who is really big into 3D printing. He's the one who got me into 3D printing. He's the one who got me started on my 3D printing journey. And now I'm taking it to another level. Then, you heard Tim, when we were out at SEMA, last year. He's the one who got me into photography real deep. I've learned so much from these guys that, it's time to give it back and stuff like that. So we're always giving back. That's one thing we want to do. But, the other thing is, you heard us talking to Ed, back in the day. Well, not back in the day, I guess you could say, a couple months ago. And, through the Vulcanar Technology Solutions channel, Tech at Lunch, the podcast we got, that I'm bringing back, I promise. We're going to be bringing it back. We're going to have some interesting people on there, I think. And, learning from Ed about PLCs, automation, robotics, more in-depth stuff than what I already knew. So training is just not seeing in a course and, doing the whole twiddle your thumbs thing and, pray you learn something. It's not one of those things. Or thinking that, oh crap, I'm taking this class, now I'm wasting my money. Doing a boot camp, right? So there's a lot of those out there. And you can see that, I'm kind of in a hotel room. But why? You know that, for one, we are going to be doing a build, this year, or at least working on one. And one of the things we need to have for a build is an ECU. And with that ECU comes programming because it is standalone. It's not a factory unit, that comes from the factory. It's not a factory built car. Now, when it comes down to, major training providers, when it comes down to standalone ECU departments, you have two cases of thought. You have Holly, or you have FuelTech. And, when you start thinking about the two giants of, ECUs, you also have Haltech and a couple other guys. However, your two biggest ones when it comes down to anything performance related is going to be, Holly or FuelTech. FuelTech is probably the number one company out there right now when it comes down to higher performance anything. High performance ECUs. They're bringing out their FT700s, which are great. The FT550s is what I have on order. We'll find out why here in a second. But the thing is FuelTech USA is in Ball Ground, Georgia. Right outside of Canton. A little bit outside of Atlanta. And their headquarters. Those are North American headquarters here, and their other headquarters is down in Brazil. This company has been doing this for 22 years, and let me tell you something. I am here actually in Canton, doing the FuelTech education. Wiring and base tune course. We're getting ready to end it tomorrow, and let me tell you something, y'all. If you look at it, go, oh, I don't know about the money. It's worth every penny that you're going to spend. If you don't do the full wiring and base tune course, just do the base tune course. If your native language is Spanish and you don't feel like you can learn enough in an English course, then they have a Spanish version for everybody else. Their instructors are amazing, right? They're coming from 20 years of experience, probably combined, probably 40, 30 to 40 years worth of experience combined. But 20 years just is one of them. And they have done some amazing things. Y'all, I'm telling you, seeing their facilities here, understanding what they're doing, understanding their mission behind, delivering the best products, on the planet right now for racing or any high performance applications. It's no frills. It's fast, right? So you're talking, if you look at their website, if you look into the dyno tuning, you can actually see some of the cars that have been tuned here in Ball Ground. You're talking about 5,000 horsepower cars. If you're fans of Cletus McFarlane, he took, his gray car here to FuelTech with a FuelTech on it and ran 5,000 horsepower on their wheel dyno. On their hub dyno, sorry. We got to see a couple good polls this week. We're not at liberty to talk to about them, but hey, we saw some really good ones. Now, and they also have different, versions of their ECU, which are, from your FT400s or their 450s all the way up to their 700s and 700 plus. If you want something fancy, 700, 700 plus, you're going to pay for it, right? I myself have a 550 on order, for the vehicle build that I'm going to do. This course has equipped me with the ability to do that, to wire the vehicle how I see fit, and also program it, tune it to my liking and the horsepower number that I want to do. Let the cat in the bag. We're going to be doing a Barra build, a Ford Barra build. That is going to be something that we're going to do this year, hopefully. But that's the goal, is to do a Ford Barra build and have a little bit of fun with it. We're going to be putting a lot of what we've learned through, FuelTech, in motion. And, we already have a base map created. We did that today and yesterday, using their software. Their software is very easy to use. I love it. Me, I'm an IT guy. Or IT background, I should say. And, I come from a lot of software quality. I think it's amazing. It works. You can tell they're doing some updates because you can kind of see it. But also the good thing is they're very open to, if you have an issue with a crash or something like that, you send it to them and they'll take a look at it. We've been hearing all week that the one thing about FuelTech is their documentation. Documentation, customer service, they are amazing. These guys know racing. They know their ECUs. They know their equipment. They know what they're doing. Now, this leads me to another part of the course that most people don't talk about. It's the people. The people that you're in the course makes the course, right? So, what I mean by that is you'll learn from your instructors, but you'll also learn from the people that's in there with you. So, those people that are in there with you are going to teach you so much more than just the course alone. They're going to feed you information that you never thought you would know before or even want to know. So, just how it goes, right? So, but that's the thing. And that's what I mean by training. It does not have to be from a structured course. It can be from a, from people in your class that you're sitting in, right? But, if you ever have any desire, want, wishes, or whatever, to learn tuning, to learn anything like that, I can't stress this enough, is come up here and do the FuelTech course. If you say, well, you know what, I don't want to do FuelTech. Okay, that's fine. Guess what? Holly does the same thing. However, you are going to take multiple classes to be able to get the same exact stuff that you're going to get out of here, and you won't get the wiring part. Y'all, I think the fact that knowing how to wire a car, and like we say in class, not let the smoke out, because you can't put it back in, then this class is worth it. If you want to know how to do a custom wire harness to your exact specifications, so you don't have any extra frills or anything like that that you don't need, take this course. There's no sponsorship or anything like that here. So this is just me talking, me letting y'all know what I think, kind of a, end of the week review, kind of wrap up, because this will come out on the last day. So, we had a lot of fun. It's been one heck of a course, let me tell you. It's been some good laughs too. Some smart people, smart classmates, seeing some cars in the dyno that you never think you'd see before. And they are ripping. And, it makes it enjoyable. It makes it something different. And it's not like every class you go sit in and you're like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And, the thing is, for me, I can easily see taking what I do now and expanding what we have here to incorporate more of that, more custom builds, more stuff like that with the ECUs from FuelTech or from anybody else if we want to try somebody new. No one says you can only date, you can't only date one person, but you can't only date one technology, right? However, that's the thing. We're going to do more, we're going to do a build using all of, their gear, but we're going to keep doing builds with their gear. We got some people who said they want to do some stuff. May not be this year. This year we're going to focus on our own build, some stuff that we want to get done. But then we'll start worrying about somebody else's stuff, and that will incorporate a FuelTech ECU as well. So, we're going to have some fun with it. Y'all go look them up. Go stretch out their website. Again, not a marketing gimmick, but they have got one hell of a 22-year sale going on right now. It is absolutely amazing. And if you do have their gear, right, put a note in the comments. Let me know how it goes. Let me know how it is. Also, they offer dyno tuning here. So if you have one of their ECUs, you can purchase a dyno tuning session on their website and actually get your vehicle professionally tuned here. Where they'll take a look at it and help you out with it. Make sure you don't let the smoke out. So, I highly recommend going out and taking, this course through FuelTech and, learning something new. We always tell people, learning something new is a gateway drug because you want to keep learning about it. You want to keep getting involved in it, right? That's what we're going to do. We're going to get involved. We're going to take our background, from the automotive IT world and incorporate it into custom vehicle building world. Have a little bit of fun. Yeah, it's not. We're gonna do a couple things people never really seen before. We're gonna try to at least. We're just gonna try to do a couple things. Probably not be very successful, but you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna joke around. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna get all of our friends involved. And we hope that we see him again at SEMA. Because that is our goal, is to go back to SEMA this year. We went last year, had a blast. Goal is to go again this year, and go have just as good time. Meet a lot of good people, and then hopefully this year we'll get to go to PRI and hang out with like-minded people that are part of the racing community and stuff like that. The vehicle that we are building with this bear will be a drag and drive car. We're going to attempt to do some drag and drives with it, and we're gonna have fun with it. We hope, depending on what shell we can find, we hope that we can do a the NHRA stock class, or as much stock as it can be. So we're gonna keep it inside the NHRA rule book, because that's what it needs to be. It needs to be safe. It needs to be efficient. It needs to be fast, ish. But big thing is we gotta learn something. And that's the goal in all of this, is we are going to learn something. Might not be a lot of things, but it's going to be something. We're going to learn how to install the ECU, how to put it in the system, how to run wiring, and make sure we don't, again, let the smoke out. And what I mean by that, most of y'all know, is that all electronic components, they have a soul. And if you fry them, you release it in the form of smoke and fizzles and stuff that's not very good. You can't put the genie back in the box. All right. So most of y'all, or some of y'all, have realized that if you've plugged in something into the wrong circuit, you do that, it fries, you can't put it back. Just how it goes. You can't put the genie back in the box. Just sorry. If that's something that you want to do, then well, take on a different profession. So we hope that we can learn a little bit something. And again, go take this FuelTech course. It's freaking awesome. Again, not sponsored by these guys. They want to, cool. If not, then I'm not worried about it, because I just want to have fun. I want y'all to have fun. I want y'all to learn something. I want y'all to enjoy it. I want y'all to want to build something cool. The thing is hey, hopefully we can teach y'all something a little bit about, we can't be Larry Chen, so we can't really teach you about automotive photography, but we'll try. But hopefully we can teach you something from our side, from the STEM side, because if you think about it, vehicle tuning of any sort, through any ECU is 100% STEM. Science, learning about fueling, technology, it's learning what the vehicle does, engineering, it's everything that has to do with ratios and all this other, stuff, vehicle components, and then math. You have to know the math to know what your vehicle is going to burn, how it's going to do what it's going to do, and stuff like that. So you got to be able to make those educated guesses, and swags, if you really want to go that route. But, you also have to understand that it's STEM related. Everybody who says that STEM doesn't have a place in modern day, society, which I've heard that, which I don't think hopefully anybody believes, but you're wrong. Because there's always be a place. And if we keep learning and we keep expanding our knowledge one thing at a time, then we pass it on to somebody else and we share that passion. And then once we get our passion shared, we may influence the next generation. That's the big thing about this. The big thing about, Vulcanar Motorsports is sharing the next generation. Get the next generation wanting to do this. Get them wanting to go out and have a good time. Get them wanting to get on the racetrack, have a little bit of fun, build custom cars, build cool shit. But, that's the thing, is, enjoy it. Have fun with it. share the passion, always learn something. And, I leave you with that. And, you know, we hope y'all come back. We appreciate y'all. Go take a look at Vulcanar Motorsports on all social media platforms. Go take a look at Vulcanar Technology Solutions on all platforms. Go take a look at Tech at Lunch. And also, when you're over there at Vulcanar Motorsports, take a look at the blog. We're going to post some more stuff over there, and go take a look at the forums. Join us there, and we'll have a little bit of fun. So, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Thank you again. Y'all make this worth it, and we'll see you later.